Welcome everyone to One World, Many Voices for Japan. It is wonderful to be joining together in a common purpose to raise funds, to raise spirits, and to send healing prayers to Japan, to the people and land of Japan. In particular to Natori City in the north of Japan, which was devastated by the earthquake and the tsunami just 2 months ago. And in doing this, we open our hearts and strengthen connections with our friends and neighbors across the Pacific and all around the world. We know that what happens in one place affects us all. We are one world. My name is Linda Holliday, and I'm the director and chief instructor of Aikido of Santa Cruz. And I've had a long personal connection with Japan. I came to Santa Cruz 40 years ago as a UCSC student of art and music. And then in 1973, I went to Japan for the first time with 2 other young Santa Cruz students. And we ended up in a very unusual place. We went to a remote region of Japan called Kumano in the countryside of the southwest to train intensively in Aikido, which is a martial art and a practice of peace. And I fell in love with the culture, the wisdom, and the beauty of Japan. And it has shaped the course of my life as a person and as a teacher of Aikido. Where I lived was a small city on the coast of Japan, situated on the mouth of a river. The Pacific Ocean on one side, coastal mountains on the other, forested with tall Japanese cedar trees. The city had a history of logging and fishing. There was domestic tourism. Does this sound familiar to anyone? And there were a lot of nice people, and an Aikido school, and 3 young Santa Cruzians practicing Aikido every moment of the day. So the next year, in 1974, the Aikido teacher from Shingu came to Santa Cruz and met with the city officials then. And the sister city relationship between our 2 cities was born. What a long and rich connection it has been, with so many cultural exchanges going back and forth. And when Santa Cruz was damaged in the Loma Prieta earthquake in 1989, Shingu sent us money to rebuild. Shingu is in the southwest of Japan's main island, and the March 11th earthquake and tsunami hit the northeast. Natori was a city of 73,000 people on the Pacific coast next to Sendai. The Sendai airport is actually in Natori City, which is just 50 miles north of the Fukushima nuclear plant. Many of the most dramatic photos that you saw on the news just following the quake and the tsunami were from Natori City. The houses on fire in the middle of the water, the vast fields of rubble that used to be residential neighborhoods. The massive tsunami poured through the city and the fields of Natori, and as the mayor of Natori described it, almost our entire city virtually disappeared off the face of the earth. Imagine Santa Cruz if we suddenly lost our whole city. Natori is the place we are sending our financial aid and our prayers of compassion and healing. Since 2008, Shingu and Natori have been domestic sister cities, and according to legend, there have been deep spiritual ties between these 2 cities for 1,000 years. Since the tsunami, Shingu has been sending money and badly needed supplies to the people of Natori. In the days immediately following the tsunami, Shingu sent many teams of government personnel to help, bringing emergency supplies of water tankers, 20,000 bottles of water, 5,000 meals, 1,000 blankets. Recently, Shingu has been sending the relief funds directly to the Natori city government, which distributes it to the people in need. Right after the earthquake, there were 10,000 people in evacuation centers. It was still winter, snowing and cold, and people shared what little food and supplies they had. 2 months later, there are still close to 1,000 evacuees, homeless, 900 people known dead, and 148 still missing. Currently, Natori City is focusing on building temporary housing for the remaining homeless evacuees, and they're working with a committee of about 100 citizens crafting plans for the rebuilding of their city. I've often been impressed by the quiet strength and collective spiritual inspiration of the Japanese people, even in harsh circumstances, like the ones they are facing now. In one of the photos of the evacuation centers in Natori, with people crowded together and sleeping on the floor of a school gymnasium, high on the wall you can see a big banner with the words written by school children, "With the bonds of friendship in our hearts, let us fly to the future." So we are honoring the strength and beauty of Japan while offering a helping hand across the Pacific and strengthening the bonds of friendship in our own community at the same time. It is inspiring how many individuals and community groups have come together to make this evening possible. And I'd like to introduce and acknowledge my two co-organizers, Carolyn Bridget Flynn, and Kate Abraham. It's been amazing to work with them, my good friends. Together, the three of us dreamed up this benefit for Japan, and we are thrilled to see it happen. Thank you for being here. I'll be sharing the MC duties with Carolyn and Kate tonight. We received a beautiful letter of thanks from the chairman of the Sister City Committee in Shingu, is Mr. Taku Iwasawa. He's a very dear man. He lives in a stunning river gorge just outside of the city of Shingu, and he's been to Santa Cruz many times. The full text of his letter is in the lobby out there. You can read it in the intermission with the photos of Natori, but I'll share with you this short excerpt, which is a voice of gratitude and connection from the other side of our one world. As chairman of the Shingu Sister City Committee, I am honored and grateful to be able to send this personal message in support of this day's One World, Many Voices for Japan event. Donations from this event will be delivered via Shingu City directly to the people of Natori and received with much gratitude. Since ancient times in Japan, there is a saying, Ishin Denshin, which we can translate as sympathy or communion of the heart. This reflects the Japanese custom of communicating heart to heart beyond the realm of the spoken and written word. I'm confident that behind all the warm donations, there lies a message from the heart of the people of Santa Cruz that will be sure to reach the hearts and minds of the people in faraway Natori City and bring us all together in spirit. This event confirms that we are indeed all one people in one world. And once again, on behalf of the people of Shingu and Natori, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone in Santa Cruz. That's from Mr. Iwasawa.